What's up, everybody? We're live and going. I'm a couple minutes late because I got sidetracked reading about movement because that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to see we got when people start popping on. We have a viewer. I really wish it would show me who was viewing. It's kind of crazy that it doesn't. 16 frames per second. Huh? Didn't know it gave me that. All right, we're talking about what is functional movement. I forget what I titled this thing. What did we title this? Hold on a second. Uh, oh, and why we move. Oh, wait, that's funny. I can see, uh, no, everyone can see the chats. Hi, Mom. What's going on? Keith, what's up, man? Good to see you, man. What did we call this? We called this, what is fundamental human movement? Okay, so I got the right thing in here. Functional movement, how and why we move. This is going to be kind of a primer for anybody that's looking or trying to figure out what are some of the things that they need to include in their fitness program as they start a fitness program. Maybe you've done something, you've never done something, you don't know what you're doing. You're looking at different program options, maybe. There's some online stuff. Maybe you have a gym that's local and you want to kind of find out what do I need to be looking for? What types of things should I be doing to make sure I get the most well-rounded program that's going to get me all the aspects that I need. Okay. We've talked about the 10 components of fitness before. We've talked about how a fitness program needs to work on, strength, power, speed, agility, balance, coordination, accuracy, endurance, all those different things. Um, Flexibility is a big part of that as well. The 10 components of fitness from a physiological perspective, how your body works and your central nervous system works. Okay. What we're talking about today is the components of movement that you need to train in order to make sure that you can work in ranges of motion and survive in the real world. Okay. Do the things that you need to be able to do to get through life, to be able to live your life and have a high quality of life day to day. All right. So there are 7 essential functional movements. Okay. This is pretty standard. Anybody you talk to when we talk about general fitness. If you get into specific methodologies that have a name, like CrossFit has a name, they have 9 functional movements, 9 specific essential movements. Okay. We're taking it a step up from that, and we're talking about more broad, general functional human movement. We're not talking about what any specific methodology prescribes to, because there's some differences here and there based on the brand or the company or the person that you're talking about. So we're going to try to make it as generic as possible. Okay. 7 things that you need to be looking for when you are training and doing something for your fitness. Okay. Squatting, lunging, pushing something, pulling something, hinging at the waist, okay, twisting, twisting your body, and walking. Okay, walking is one of the functional movements. You need to be able to walk. How many people, especially as you get older, can't walk? Right? They need a stroller, they need a car, they need a little one of those hand things, right? That's a huge, huge, huge thing that I think we underestimate sometimes in its importance. Okay. So let's talk about these in order. We'll talk about squatting first. Squatting, sitting up, getting up and down off of a chair, getting up and down off your toilet, okay, getting in and out of your car. Squatting is an essential movement. You need to be able to squat. You need to be able to squat with all the pressure evenly distributed with both feet. You need to be able to squat with some pressure more on one foot than another, right? Think about getting in and out of a car. You're putting your one foot in as you sit down into the chair. And so that's actually a combination of squatting and lunging, which we'll talk about lunging next. Okay. Um, One of the things that you're going to see as we talk about all seven of these is there's overlap amongst all of them. Okay. There's overlap amongst all of them because none of these, and this is one of the things that makes them functional. This is one of the things that makes these functional movements is that they all, even though the movements are different, the movements are specific to themselves, they require components of your whole body in order to perform them. Okay. It's not the same as bodybuilding workouts where you can isolate one specific muscle. I'm going to focus on just my bicep. Okay. You can't squat without using 5 or 6 different sets of muscles. You can't lunge without using every single one of these. You need to use multiple sets of muscles in multiple parts of your body. Okay. All of these, all of these engage your core. Okay. In functional movements, this is, I'm going to completely sidetrack us right now. Okay. If you haven't caught on yet, when you listen to these lives or you watch any of my videos, as I'm talking, something will pop into my head and then we'll just start talking about that. Okay. I will hopefully remember where I was going originally and we'll get back to it. Every workout, every exercise that you do in a functional fitness program is a core exercise. Okay. You do not need to do abs, have an ab day, right? Or a core day if you're doing things properly. There are workouts where there are times and weeks of programming that I'll do for myself or my clients where we never focus on anything that's core specific, but the things that they're doing, they'll come back to me. I'll come back to myself after doing a workout and be like, man, my abs are on fire. Or I'll wake up the next morning and be like, okay, I'm feeling that in my core, even though I didn't specifically target core. All right. Functional movements, one of the definitions of functional movements is that it requires core activation and it utilizes multiple muscle groups and movement and different appendages and parts of your body, right? It's a multi-joint movement. Okay, that's functional movement. All right, back to squats. So you need to squat. You need to be able to understand what it means to have balance while you drop your body. You need to understand how to activate the muscles in the butt and hamstrings as you stand up. You need to be able to do that without putting that pressure into your back. Okay. There's a lot of different things. You should be able to do it while holding something. If I need to squat down and wrap my arms around something and stand up with it, can I do that without falling over or wrenching my back or whatever it may be? Okay. Squatting is an essential functional movement. Okay. Lunging is the second one on the list. Getting down on one knee and standing up again. That's really all that is. We do it when we play with our kids. We do it when we kneel down. We call it kneeling instead of lunging most of the time. We do it when we kneel down and pick up toys, uh, doing it in the yard, doing yard work, gardening, working on our car. I mean, we don't think about how often we actually drop down to one knee. Okay, being able to do that, and again, going into the scenario of getting in and out of your car, right? When you are essentially doing a lunge, right? You're squatting into the seat, but in order to do that, you're taking a step with one foot. Basically, think of a lunge as like a one-legged squat. You're putting all the pressure, most of the pressure of your body dropping down into one leg, and you need to be able to handle that. So there's some balance involved in that. There's some coordination involved in that. All right. You need to be able to support your weight on one or the other leg at a time. That's really what lunging is all about. Okay. Um, Third thing on the list, pushing something. Can you push? Lunges suck. Lunges are awesome, Carol. No, Carol, I actually agree with you. Lunges are not my favorite. I feel like there's so much work every time you do them because it's like one step and it's such a long process to take a step, stand up, take another step. I don't know. They're great. They're fantastic and everybody needs to do them often. I think at least once a week you should probably be doing some form of lunging, but yes, they are not the fun. They are not the most fun. I would rather do burpees than do lunges. How's that? How's that one? Go figure that, right? Because everybody knows I love burpees. I'm a little bit of a masochist like that. Okay, back to the next thing on the list. Pushing stuff. We're gonna push. So pushing a sled, pushing a barbell, doing pushing overhead, pushing in a bench press, doing push-ups. We do push away more than we think. Getting up off the floor, there's moving furniture. There are times in our lives where we have to be able to push. You don't need to be able to push a ton. With all of these guys too, remember, we're talking about the movements right now. I'm not even going to worry about, we're not talking about weights. We're not talking about reps and how much you should be able to do. We've talked about that stuff before. I'm sure we will talk about it again. Right now, we're just talking about what are the movements that need to be included in whatever program that you're using. Okay. So pushing things is absolutely something that you need to be able to do. The same with pulling things, right? Front and back. You need to be able to push it and you should be able to pull it. Pulling yourself up, pulling things towards you, pulling things from the ground. Okay. So being able to have that shoulder stability, the stability in your back to be able to do something without hurting yourself. And that's what all of these things are about. Every one of these movements, when we're talking about being able to perform the movements without hurting yourself. That's the key. Because if you hurt yourself, then you can't do it, and then you got to stop and you got to start all over again when you're healed. Okay, we want to be able to do these things safely, with whatever level of intensity that you need in your day-to-day life. Your requirements may be different than someone else's, but we want to be able to perform all of these in order to get the quality of life that we're looking for, whatever that may be. Okay, so pushing things, pulling things, hinging. This is a huge one, big one, guys. Pay attention to hinging. Okay, hinging. When we talk about hinging, what we're talking about is using your hip joints. Okay, being able to change your hip position, okay? So that when you bend over, you're not bending over from your lower back, you're bending over from your hip. So I'm going to pretend like this is my body, this is my head, okay? This is my wrist here, right? This is my hip, and then this is going to be my lower back, right? Where how can I do that? Woo, I'm backwards here. This is my lower back, okay? Most people, when they bend over, right? They're standing up. When they bend over, they get to a certain point where their hips stop, and then they do everything with their lower back, right? They get that lower back flexion. It's not what we want. You want to be able to keep your back straight and then use your hips, right? Use your hips and bend up and down, right? With all that action being in your butt, in your hamstrings, using your hip joints to handle the weight. The largest joint that you have in your body that is designed specifically to handle the largest loads and stress is your hip joint. It is designed to handle that stress. Your lower back is not. Think about that. Your hips go from your left side to your right side. They're a good 8 to 10 inches tall. It is the core of the function of your body. That is the central base of your core. Your pelvis is where everything comes from. All the control, all the strength, all the power transfer, everything happens from your hips. Okay. Your lower back is like this big, right? It's 3 vertebrae, 4 vertebrae, right? That are all kind of stuck right here. It's about that thick. Okay. Which one do you think is going to handle the load of picking up garbage bags, right? Um, Helping someone in your family move a couch, whatever it may be. Okay. The more you can hinge properly, the more you learn how to take the stress off of your lower back, the much better your quality of life is going to be. Okay. Twisting is the by the book functional movement that's in here. Okay. And we do have twisting, right? We do twist when we go to grab something. Anybody that's driven a car with kids in the back, I guarantee you've twisted your body, right? Whatever that may be. Okay. Stop it. We're going to pull the car over. Stop. Give me that back, right? Stop hitting your sister, whatever it may be. I guarantee you've done some twisting with kids in the car. Uh, Another way to think about twisting is being able to control your core, control your body in movements in multiple directions, changing directions, going to one side. Okay. If I have weight in one arm and it's pulling me to this side, I have to use the ab control, the core control on the other side to bring me back to straight. So in a sense, I'm twisting because I'm using counter forces, right? We're talking about twisting is counter forces. One thing's going one way while I'm pushing the other way. So if I have weight in one hand and I'm using the other side to pull me straight, that's a form of twisting. Okay, core control. So when we talk about twisting, really what we're talking about is developing that core control that you need in all of the other movements. Okay. So think about that. And remember, that's not just abs. Okay. Your core is all of the muscles from your pelvis all the way up through your armpits, essentially. Okay. So that's your core, and that's front, back, and sides. So your lats, your obliques, your core, your abdominal muscles, your erectors, and your muscles in the back, your medes, right? Muscles in the upper hip. Those are all part of your core, and you need all of them in order to maintain stability while you do the other six movements. Okay. And then the last one is walking. I like to think of walking as not just a regular stroll in the park, but you should be able to walk with some load and with some speed. Okay. If you need to carry something, if you need to carry someone in an emergency, you should be able to carry somebody, at least somebody that weighs as much as you do. Okay. If you have to. Um, we got some more, we got some, those burpees are worse. Claire's no burpees. It doesn't automatically scroll comments for me. Um, So when it comes to walking, if you do my program, you'll see we do farmers carries a lot. We do kettlebell carries. There's a lot of things that we do because I want you to be able to walk with load, with stress, with intensity, because life isn't about strolls in the park. Life is about being able to do all seven of these functional movements under stress. And that's why you're training them so that you can do them easily when there's no stress and efficiently and safely when there is stress. Okay. So those are the seven functional movements, guys. Those are the movements that we do every day, even though we don't really think about it. And they should be part of whatever program you're deciding that you want to look at doing. Okay. If that's my program, if that's the Apex at Home program, for those of you that aren't already using it, um, we do all of these. We do them, it's 5 workouts a week, and we go through all this stuff. You can ask anybody. Let's see who's on here now. Claire's the only one that's logged in right now that's on there. So you guys can ask Claire what she likes about the program. There's other people in the group that are on it as well. Feel free to ask questions about it. If you want a free sample, we can work out samples. Actually, that's a great idea. I got to figure out how to do a free week or something like that of the program so people can kind of sign in and check it out. Um, Mom, don't let me forget that. I got to set that up. In case you guys don't know, Claire, that's on here, is my mom too. So she's not biased at all. I guarantee you. She'll be hard. She's just as hard on me as I am on her. Um, she's actually been a client for like almost 7 years now, and she still keeps coming back. I don't know why. If anybody has any questions or anything, please ask before we close this thing out. Questions, comments, thoughts, anything you want clarification on. If not, I'll let it go another 10 or 15 seconds. I love having these guys. Also, if you have any recommendations or ideas on topics you want to talk about every Tuesday, coming up with something to do every Tuesday is a little more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I like doing it, but I'm always interested in answering questions that you guys specifically have. So if you have topics that you want to talk about, please let me know. Okay. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you very much. I will see you next week. Enjoy yourself and take it easy. Go get some work in. All right. Later.